Okay. All right. Make task lists. That's what we were working on here. So that's what we're going to do. One thing I haven't done, which I should probably look into real quick. What are destructors necessary? Because I think we get some free functionality from a default destructor. Okay. Explicitly that need to be explicitly resourced as dynamically allocated memory, file handles, network connections, database connections. Okay, so resources and dynamic memory. That makes sense. A virtual destructor is necessary when objects with derived classes are managed through pointers to their base class. Without a virtual destructor in the base class, deleting derived data object through a base class pointer will only invoke the base class destructor, potentially leading to incomplete cleanup and memory leaks. That's actually a very good answer. Let's go. All right. Again, this is something I should know, but because I'm a bit out of practice in C++, we're going to ask for QWidget child classes. All right. Most of the time in Qt, you do not need to write destructors for QWidget child classes. Qt has parent-child ownership. When you create a child with widget with the parent, this takes ownership. When the parent is destroyed, all the children are automatically deleted, so you don't manually delete button. Implicitly shared Qt types clean up themselves. They use implicit sharing, copy on write. When should you write a destructor? You only need to write a destructor if your class allocates raw resources, files, sockets, memories, not managed by Qt, or you need to log or perform custom cleanup. That's fair. You want to explicitly release something before Qt's parent-child cleanup runs. Best practice in Qt6, prefer smart pointers. Unique pointer. Oh, this is new to me. Or a Q-scoped pointer, Q-shared pointer for manual resource ownership. This way, you rarely need a destructor at all. If your Q widget just contains other Qt widgets in standard containers, the compiler-generated destructor is enough, which is what I thought, which is why I wasn't writing them. But it's something that like came to me in my head the other day, like, wait, am I forgetting to do something? Let's fact check it. For a typical QWidget subclass, you don't need to write a destructor unless you manage non-Qt resources. So I will once I create my logic thingamajigger. And this is like lagging too much. I'm gonna have to refresh this tab, I think. Not necessarily, depends on what your logic class owns. Qt containers, implicit types, other Qt objects with a parent, smart pointers. The compiler generated destructor is enough. You don't need to write one. Okay. Keep memory file descriptors sockets. Uses new without a parent and not wrapped in a smart pointer. Needs to stop background work. Resource acquisition is initialization. Prefer stack allocation or smart pointers instead of raw, new, and delete. I always like to see what this thing can spit out. Wow, this looks almost like my class. That's crazy. That's very cool. I don't remember what the difference between a vector and a list is. Q vector versus Q list in Qt6. Contiguous array, like std vector. Q list is not guaranteed contiguous. It has special array and linked chunks implementation. People often use Q list by default in Qt code, even when Qt vector was better. Qt6, oh, this is for 5. Q list was changed to be an alias of Q vector. So in Qt6, it's the same type under the hood. Clear semantics. Q vector tells your readers a container is like standard vector, contiguous, indexable, and good for iteration. Q list in old code bases can mean different things depending on whether it's 5 or 6. Better interop with STL. Q vector is directly compatible with std vector style expectations. Contiguous storage. Data, pointer arithmetic, etc. Performance clarity. In modern C++ and Qt6, you typically want standard vector-like behavior for most tasks. Q vector makes it explicit. When would you use Q list? In Qt6 only. Hi, what's up, Luke? It's BS. But many Qt developers, including the official docs, recommend preferring Q vector to avoid confusion to make intent explicit. Use Q vector if you want a sequence container. Qmap, qhash. Avoid QList if you're working in a code base that consistently uses it. Wait, what? Avoid, unless you're working in a code base that consistently uses it. Let's actually look this up. I'm also going to refresh this tab. And let's go here and like a Q vector versus Q lists, Qt6. I'm not going to read another AI answer. That would be ridiculous. Q vector and Q lists are unified. Previously, Qt featured very different implementations for these two containers. Okay, so that sounds like what AI was telling me. However, we decided that QList should be the real class with the implementation, while QVector should just become an alias to QList. So AI said the opposite. QVector is aliased to list, not the other way around. Simplify porting efforts as many Qt APIs work with QList rather than QVector, and we believe so does the user code. So at least at the level of interaction with Qt, make it clear that QVector2D and friends are unrelated to QVector. Be in sync with QString list and QByte array list naming convention. You speak a little Spanish? Sí. Puedo hablar un poquito. Pero si quiere, ¿cómo se dice? Si puede hablar en español. While basing the new implementation of QList on QVector, we recognize one important use case. Prior to Qt6, QList had an amortized constant time of insertion at the beginning, prepend. To address this property, QList in Qt6 supports optimized prepend as well, and to have more aligned container implementations, so do QString and QByte array. Unfortunately, everything comes at a price. In this case, the price is iterator validity across container modifying operations. Unlike QVector in Qt5, QList, and hence QVector in Qt6, allows for less freedom in keeping the iterators valid between operations. Which is, I think, kind of what I'm used to seeing anyways in most languages. As a rule of thumb, consider that any operation that adds elements to or removes them from the container invalidates the remembered iterators, even when the QList is not implicitly shared. More details and per function exceptions to this rule can be found in the documentation snapshots. May shrink on elements removal. Normally, QList manages memory automatically. When growing, it allocates excess memory in advance. Symmetrically, we want QList to reduce the occupied space when it is decreasing size. QList memory is not limited by 2 gigabits. I'm just going to keep using QList. 2 months ago. Oh, asked 14 years and 2 months ago. That's too long. That's QT5. This is probably also an old post, 2021. I think the code model is getting confused as QVector has become an alias to QList in Qt6. It's valid for Qt5, however, it might not support it yet for Qt6. Oh, whoops. It sounds like they do the same thing, so I'm not going to even think about it right now. Okay, let's go back to the code. Time to get coding. Hold on, let's do I need a constructor here? Yeah, I probably do. That sounds good to me. Non-explicit converting constructor? To make the constructor non-converting. What does that mean? Non-explicit converting constructor. Yeah, this is very laggy. I don't know why. I'm gonna do... I want to try this. We're just kind of messing around with AI tools here just for the hell of it. No, what is a converting? What was it? Implicit converting? And is to make the constructor non-converting. Converting constructor is a non-explicit constructor that can be called with a single argument or effectively one argument via default parameters. It enables implicit conversion from the arguments type to the class type. Oh. Allows for int, meter implicitly. But if you put explicit, it can make APIs convenient, but also allow unintended implicit conversions, causing surprising overload, resolution, or bugs. So that's why how to disable implicit conversion. Recommend it unless you truly want it. No implicit conversion. Ah, I see. Oh, that's interesting. I guess the reason for that is because I don't supply, like if I go here and I'm like, oh, yeah, give me this. Now it's not going to be implicit anymore, right? Oh no, has nothing to do with that. How come my other classes don't have this problem? All right. They don't have a single parameter constructor or effectively single parameter. Oh, right. Okay. So this is probably, that's what I thought. So it is what I thought, but I probably just have to build it again. I was going to complain that none of these functions are implemented, I think. Oh, no, it worked. But it's still complaining about this? Name and tasks. Whatever. Oops. And make an add. We could also have a convenience function, right? Because right now task is really like nothing, right? We can have a convenience, overloaded convenience function. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Oh, you got me, AI. You caught me. Um, let's look this up too. Cannot cast from const queue string to task via non-functional style cast. Alt shift backslash. That's a really weird thing. We can try that. Oh, because it's not a const pointer? Oh, hold on. This is why. Queue date time. Construct invalid queue date time. Something like that. I want to put like a default value or a null value. I guess really what I want is nullable. Qt nullable. I think there is a C++ 11 thing. Just not sure how to use it. Or better question, what should I use for a default finished at Q date time? Value types, you can use std optional. Note in Qt6, QString no longer distinguishes null versus empty. As standard optional value or, okay, that's cool. Use pointers and then null pointers, no object. If you need automatic nulling when the Q object is deleted, use Q pointer. Default constructed is null is true. You can also create an invalid one. Works, but is null is usually clear for not initialized. You can use null. In the constructor parameter, make it null. I don't know why this is so laggy. Oh, I can just initialize it as a Q with default constructor. Alternative, use std optional if you want to make it super explicit. Qt style integrates with signal slots. No STL overhead, works everywhere. Modern C++ style makes maybe and no values explicit in the type. Both are valid. Qt often uses QDate time as the sentinel. My original idea was to use a sentinel and then check for is null. What does std optional PI look like? I think optional's better. I've never used it before. Is std optional compatible with signals and slots? No, it's not directly supported. you'll get a mock error because std optional to datetime is not a registered Qt meta type. That's the native Qt approach. It's tricky. I think I probably have to check for is null anyway. Because if that's the case, I might as well. Nullable state is represented by invalid time, which you check with is null or is valid. They're basically complements. I guess. Yes. Line them up side by side. I don't know. We can try using optional just to try something new and see what problems we run into. It might not be that good in the end. But then we have to pass it in as an optional. What I like about the optional API though is it seems a little bit easier to use. Oh, because I put this on the wrong side. That's my bad. Oh. I see. So then what I would actually do is I see value or. So it doesn't really help me. It actually doesn't really help me. It doesn't help me. I'm gonna just leave it as a sentinel value. It actually doesn't help me. You see that? Like, I would just have to write more boilerplate to get it to work. But what I could do, if I wanted to, is I could return the date time finished as an optional. So I could do that. I could go, sorry, optional. And I could say, instead of returning this, I could return std optional right? And then when I go here, finish that UTC, I'll say return and UTC dot is null. Then we'll say, no, that's not right. Then we'll say, oh wait, hold on, because I didn't change this to std optional. So then we'll go here and we'll say, oops. That's right. And we can go like this. And then wrap it. And this is not how I wanted you to format this file. Why is configuring my formatter such a pain in the ass? Do not intend like this. I know exactly how I want you to write my code. Why can't you do it? Like, I would say I don't care and just let it do whatever. But like, I don't know why it doesn't work. The problem is like it messes up my indentation and stuff when I try to do things. Continuous line indent. I don't know what that means. Oh, single. Oh, align. I don't want it to align things. Align multi-line. Nope. 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 My solution to this usually is line breaking. Just break. Single embedded statement. Break line after member function definition return type. I don't know what any of this means. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why it doesn't keep existing line breaks. I thought I said all of this already. Oh no, sorry, after. I did have all of this set up. It might have happened when I imported the Qt style. Son of a bitch. Stop trying to line my shit up. Whatever. This might be good because when I'm using it, it'll force me to check whether or not it's real. Right? Like I'm basically doing this check up front. Then what? We do what? We do value dot. We do like what? Um, this is either value or value or has value reset. I don't know if there's any benefit to this. It does force us to use the other thing, but that's okay. Well, in any case, so we got sentinel values for everything here. Kind of got what we wanted, and then this will basically tell us return if it's done or not. Non-explicit converting constructor. Why? I guess because there's only one parameter here. Oh, I got it. I got it. So to make it non-converting. So this means I can do task. This means anywhere I can use a task, I can just put a string, which means that if I go back here, I don't need this, is what that means, because there's an automatic converting one, right? So if I go to, that's what it means. If I go to main window, let's just say, and then I go task list. And I say task list dot add. I can say poop. Cannot convert. Oh, maybe because I didn't build it yet. No declaration matches const q string. Let's F5. Yeah. Hmm. But this is converting. That takes a q string. I'm ball busting AI today, trying to get the juicy questions, the juicy answers. What's my water supply at? My water supply is low. I'm gonna take a 5-minute break and we'll be back. Okay, we're back. I have a minute and a half left on my break. I'm just gonna end that early. Let's have the new shortcut keys on it. And we're gonna go here. And so that's kind of what I thought. So it just doesn't let you do it twice. So I do need this. I do need this constructor here. Which is fine. Right? So basically it would work if I said so on my task list, I think it's fine. Call task name. So we have add, remove. No. Remove one. That's interesting. I don't know the API. Okay, because it doesn't exist. Binary expression, const task, and const. Wait, what? In template, invalid operands to binary expression. Remove one, remove last, remove first, remove all, remove at, remove type. What's AT? Removes the first element that compares equal to T from the list. Returns whether an element was in fact removed. What? Parameter type value. Where did I see that? Oh no, maybe not. Maybe it's, I don't know, maybe. Oh, plus equals, that's kind of neat. Appends value to the list as an overloaded function. Huh, an operator. Oh, that's cool. So instead of calling append like this, I can just say, I can just do that. That's kind of neat. Or I can go like this. That's kind of neat. I don't know what AT and T represents. I think what I need to do is iterate the list, find, like I want to remove where. Qt, Q list, remove where. Oh, I see. So we just make our own iterator. If task has operator double equal defined. Oh, that's why. That's why I'm missing the equality. Oh, remove using a predicate, using erase. That's cool. Okay. This is cool. Free function. Okay, that's why. But we're not gonna do it this way. We're gonna use UUID. The reason why this is flipping out is because this doesn't have what it needs. Members inaccessible. Oh, interesting. So they have to be public? Or, hold on, how does it work? C++ equality operator private members. The root class defines a public function operator. Oh, public. They declare it in here. I think that's why it doesn't work. But then it can't be inlined, right? How do I don't know how to implement it. Is that not what I had before? Oh, the signature changes because it only needs other. And now it can access the private stuff. So I think that's what we want. Now this will work, presumably. Yeah, now it's happy. Very cool. That's neat. And I can also put a remove at, maybe. I'm not sure what I'm going to need yet. I'll add that when I need it. I'm not going to add anything I don't need just yet. I'm going to keep this slim. Finish that. I don't know how we create a custom UUID though. We probably don't. It's okay. We're not going to create one. I think we just have to call create ID. I don't think we can go like this. View any string view poopy. Sure. I don't know, and then we can try all task lists. We'll need to get tasks. Oh yeah, we can do this too. That's a good one. Task name. And then we can say I need to make defensive copies of queue lists. Well, that's going. My complete task. What? Short answer, no. You don't need defensive copies of QList for safety in normal C++ code, but in Qt6, QList is an alias of QVector, which no longer implicitly shared copy on write. So copying in QList does a real deep copy of its elements. So you should avoid unnecessary copies for performance, not for safety. Test QList by const reference for inputs. For outputs, when you want a cheap read-only view, return a const reference. This avoids a deep copy. How do I make this a const reference then? Like this? That's what I did. Oh wait, sorry. Oh, that's not what I did. It goes with the type. Non-const L value cannot bind to L value. Ugh. Okay. So that's not what we want then. We're just gonna do deep copies. Complete task. I don't think my list actually needs a complete function. Because my task has a complete function. I need a way to return a single task so that we can complete it though. Is it a function? Oh, it's a function. Thank you. And in my task, I should have maybe a Q string representation. Um, I can just create my own. I don't know if there's a standard way to do that. Ah, the conventional way is to implement a QDebug streaming operator for your type, so you can use QDebug object everywhere. Sick. Tree function found via ADL. Oh yeah, I should rename this. Should probably rename the field too, for that matter. See, the problem is it doesn't have access when I put it in here. So I think what I need to do is expose the UUID, which I didn't really want to do, but it's fine. And back here in main, just like that. It just brings up all garbage because it doesn't know what to do with that because it's not a real UUID. That's funny. But this is good. This is a good start, I think. And then I can say, can I make this to a macro? Extract method. I don't want to do that though. Hmm? Just temporarily. This is just some garbage code that we're testing out. Oh. Oh, that is a great idea. I made these void. But maybe I should make them return the task that they create. Or at the very least, this one. Yes, it does. No declaration matches. Wait, that means I've been standing for 25 minutes. Time to sit. Short answer, you don't have to do anything. Function values, you'll only get warnings if you opt with no discard. Oh, if you opt in with no discard. Just don't annotate with no discard. Return type is globally marked no discard. To return void and provide an out parameter. No. Silencing a warning at a call site if you know it's safe to ignore once. I guess we'll see what happens and leave it at that. Oh, because this does modify the class. The address of the local variable task may escape the function. Explain the following code. That's a terrible snippet. That is a terrible code snippet. Messing around with AI though is like causing me tremendous amounts of time. It's like costing me tremendous amounts of time. May escape the function. You should not do that. Instead, return by value or use dynamic memory allocation. But why? I guess it's inaccessible outside. Return a reference to the task stored in the container instead. That leaves a dangling reference and triggers address. Okay. So it leaves a dangling reference is why. Oh, return a reference to the one that we have in here. That's interesting. That's interesting. That's interesting. So this can actually be inlined. I see. I get it. I get it. It's unowned. It's unowned. That's why it's dangling. Nobody owns it because it falls out of the scope of this function, and now we don't know who owns it. So it may leak memory if we don't manage it somewhere else. Because normally it would just get cleaned up here. Because it's not okay. Because it's being created on the stack, and when we add it, it's probably not adding it as a reference, it's probably copying it when we add it to the list. And then this will return a reference to the one in the list that has a parent that will get cleaned up. This is fun. We're learning. Okay. Why is this a problem? Oh. I got you. I think the problem I'm going to run into is I'm going to need this again. That's going to be a different copy of it. This will cause it to copy every single time. What the hell? I'm going to delete the code anyway. Does it really matter? It's not like actual production code. It's literally going to be deleted. It might cause issues, but I don't think it matters. Also, I need to take a break. Oop, task constructor custom UID. This one's just task constructor custom UUID. So the removing seems to work. Now we're going to see, we might want these to have the same signature, but we might not care because this one doesn't construct it. So presumably on the outside, we would have a reference to it anyways. Has no member called name. Yeah, it does. Oh. This is such an expensive function call. Oh my god. But it's a macro. As preprocessor can synthesize unique looking variable names by token pasting and name base counter. That looks complicated. I don't know. I need to take a break. How long have we been working here? An hour and a half? What time is it? 3:30. This is taking too long. I also need to create a new branch and check this in. So I think this is going to be a very big change, so I want to create this on a new branch. I'm going to hop off though. I need a nap and I need to work out and then I'm going to need to eat. So I have a big block of stuff that I need to get done.